Most people assume that earning $400,000 a year means you've made it. The money worries are over and the wealth is automatic. And the reality of what is actually like is nothing that they were ever told. They hit that income, they wait to feel rich, and then quietly are stunned to find themselves with a huge paycheck and surprisingly so little to actually show for it. And I understand why the expectation is so far off, because nobody talks honestly about what $400,000 income is actually like. The whole culture treats it as if it's the finish line, with no mention of the taxes, the traps, and the realities that come along with it. But earning $400,000 and actually building wealth on it are two completely different things. And the gap between them is exactly where high earners get blindsided by a reality that no one prepared them for. Through years of working with these people at this income level, I've seen the same surprising truth catch high earners off guard again and again. And I've seen the ones who understand them early on and how they build wealth while the others get stuck. So in this video, I'm going to break down what nobody tells you about earning $400,000 a year, the realities that catch people off guard, and what it actually takes to turn that income into wealth. Everything here comes from what I see with real high earners every single day. So the first thing that we need to understand, the biggest surprise of all, that the income doesn't actually make you wealthy. Okay, so picture the household that finally gets there. The promotion hits, the comp plan changes, the offer letter says $400,000. And for a little while, it feels like the financial finish line. There's this moment where you think, okay, now we should finally be good. And then real life keeps on happening. The mortgage is larger than it used to be. Taxes are always higher than expected. The kids' stuff costs more, work is intense, so convenience creeps in. And somehow, even with a massive income, the bank account does not feel as different as we thought it was going to feel. That's the first thing nobody tells you about making $400,000 a year. The paycheck can be enormous, and the wealth can still feel surprisingly small. Income is what comes in, but wealth is what stays. It's what gets invested. What gives you options later on, and those are not the same thing. From the outside, a $400,000 household can look set. The problem is when the whole paycheck flows in and then flows right back out. That's the first hard truth. A high income is raw material. Without consistent saving and investing, the income can create this feeling of success without having the balance sheet to match it. This catches high earners off guard because they assume the wealth will naturally follow the income. Then when the mortgage gets bigger, the trips get bigger, the convenience spending grows, and the new income quietly becomes your new normal. Years can pass that way. A household can earn $1 million over time and still look up one day with less investable wealth than you'd maybe expect. So the unique question at $400,000 a year is not, do I make a lot? You do. The question is this income actually changing my future? Or is it only funding a more expensive present? So a big income doesn't equal wealth. The next thing that nobody warns you about is just how much of your $400,000 you never actually get to keep. So let's talk about the tax reality that nobody warns you about. When people hear $400,000, they think about that number headline. But the household lives on what is left after your federal income tax, maybe your state income tax if that applies, other taxes, benefit deductions, retirement contributions, and everything else that comes out before your money hits your checking account. For high earners, this can be so frustrating because your W-2 income is visible and taxable. Withholding happens automatically. Compared to business owners, you might have a few other unique ways to control the timing or character of your income. This does not mean that planning is pointless. It means that planning matters even more. At that income, certain deductions, credits, contribution options might phase out or become completely limited. This is why $400,000 often feels smaller than what people actually expected. If the household builds spending around the gross income instead of the after-tax reality, the investable margin gets squeezed before the money actually has a chance to go to work for you. The goal is not to pretend that taxes can disappear. They can't. The goal is to stop planning your life around money you were never going to keep in the first place. Before you decide what house, car, school, vacation, or lifestyle fits at $400,000, you need to actually know what income becomes after taxes. That way, you can be deliberate with the tools you might have available. Employer retirement plans, HSAs if eligible, Roth strategies when appropriate, charitable planning, tax-efficient investing, and coordination around all of your different type of income, like bonuses, stock compensation, or maybe even capital gains. Taxes, unfortunately, take a bigger bite than expected. But the next trap is the one that quietly grows right alongside of your income. Let's talk about the third trap, which is lifestyle inflation. It is one of the biggest reasons high earners fail to build wealth. The tricky part is that it usually doesn't feel reckless. It feels reasonable. You work hard, the income goes up, and your life all around you starts upgrading. You might need a bigger house because your family needs more space, or better vacations because work is really stressful, more convenience because your time is tight. None of those are automatically bad. The problem is when every increase in income also becomes a permanent increase in your spending at the same time. That's how a $400,000 earner ends up at a $400,000 lifestyle, with no little to be left over. The income rises, but the amount that actually gets invested stayed too small or the same, and that leftover number is the whole game. Every household, no matter where you are, you should know what you make. You should know what goes to taxes, what you save and what you spend, what is left over. If you don't know that number, lifestyle can absorb all the money before you even realize it. This trap is hard. It's hard to escape because almost everything can feel affordable by itself in a bucket. That payment works. The trip fits. The renovation can be financed. But the household does not get squeezed one decision. It gets squeezed by the entire stack. And this is where you have to be honest with yourself or find someone who can be honest with you. If you got another $5,000 a month after taxes, would you invest it automatically? Or would you quietly find a way to use it? That question alone tells you whether your income is actually going to build you wealth or fund the next version of your same lifestyle. Escaping the trap does not mean refusing to enjoy the money. It means creating a raise rule before every raise arrives. With your next promotion, bonus, or maybe your RSU vesting, decide in advance how much you want to strengthen your future before upgrading your present. Okay, now that you've seen some of the traps that catch high earners off guard, if you want help building a real plan that turns your real income into real wealth, click the link in the description below, where Flames would be honored to walk alongside of you and show you exactly how to structure it. But let's keep going. So the next reality is the pressure that often comes with this income. A $400,000 salary usually has some demanding career behind it, like long hours, leadership pressure, client pressure and travel, bonus uncertainty, and the expectation that you have to be sharp all the time. Then there's emotional pressure. When you earn this much, people assume that you have it all figured out. So if you feel stressed about money, it can feel embarrassing to admit. You might think, how can I be anxious about money when I make 400 grand? But that feeling is more common than people realize. Listen, high income does not eliminate financial stress if the household does not have a clear system. It can make the stress more confusing because on paper, the money seems like it should be enough. But there's an identity piece. If your lifestyle and your sense of security depend entirely on keeping a demanding, high-paying role, the paycheck can start to feel less like freedom and more like a requirement. That pressure can absolutely shape your spending. People buy things that signal success. They avoid changing anything like it would be going backwards. They keep a lifestyle they might not even love because it supports the identity. that they think they're supposed to be projecting. Real wealth relives. The more you build outside of your paycheck, the less every decision on keeping the income running machine at full speed forever really matters. This is the part that makes the conversation more human. A lot of high earners are not trying to be flashy. They're tired. They're carrying a lot of responsibilities, and they want to take care of their family and not fall behind. But eventually, they have that flexibility to breathe. That is different from just looking successful. So the pressure question is not, can I afford this? It is, how dependent am I on never taking a step back? If the whole household income only works while that $400,000 income keeps running at full speed, that's not freedom. That is income dependency with a nicer house. So the pressure is real and rarely discussed. The good news is that everything nobody tells you points to what actually builds wealth at this income. All right, if you've made it this far, let's talk about what actually builds wealth at $400,000. Guess what? It's not your salary. It's not your job title, your house, your car, or the impression that other people have of you. The actual engine is the investable margin, the money that survives after taxes and after spending. At this level of income, protecting that margin is everything. You keep lifestyle deliberately below your income, and then give the difference a job. Your retirement accounts, brokerage, HSA, cash reserves, debt payoff, and all your short and long-term savings goals. This is where a high earner becomes a real advantage. If the household controls your spending and invests a large amount every single month, wealth can build quickly, not because you found a secret investment, but because the contribution power is enormous. Your tax strategies matter too, because taxes are one of the largest expenses of your household. Pre-tax accounts, Roth options, HSAs, tax-efficient investing, charitable contributions, and capital gains management, they all matter, but they enhance the core habit. They don't replace it. The high earners who build wealth turn their income advantage into an investing advantage, not spending. Month after month, they protect that margin. Year after year, they keep doing it. Over time, compounding interest starts to do way more of the work. So let's do a practical test. When the paycheck gets bigger, does the plan get stronger? Do your retirement contributions go up? Does your brokerage account get funded? Do our cash reserves improve, or the debt goes down faster? If yes, your income is becoming wealth. If no, your income is mostly becoming part of your lifestyle. This is the real opportunity of making $400,000 or more. If you use it poorly, it can vanish into taxes, lifestyle, and social pressure. If you use it deliberately, it can buy you back options, the ability to change roles, take a sabbatical, survive a layoff, help your family, or stop feeling stuck every month, depending on that next paycheck. Now that you've seen what actually builds wealth at this income, let's bring it all together so you can see how to make it happen in your own life. So, what is the actual plan to turn a $400,000 income into wealth? First, let's run a reality check. What is your actual take home after taxes and benefits? What fixed lifestyle has already been built around your take home? And how much is reliably moving towards your future flexibility? Second, know your numbers. What is your household income? How much goes to taxes? How much are you investing, saving, and spending? What is actually left over at every single month? You don't need a perfect spreadsheet, but you need at least a clear view of that reality. Third, set rules for future income increases. Decide how your raises, bonuses, or stock compensation is going to be split before it arrives. Some can improve your life now, but some has to reduce dependency on your next paycheck. Fourth, use the tax advantages strategies that are available to you. You've got to understand your employer-sponsored plan, your HSA eligibility, your Roth eligibility, pre-tax versus after-tax, stock compensation, and your taxable brokerage strategies. Fifth, invest the margin consistently. Money has to leave the checking and go somewhere productive. Whether it's your retirement account, brokerage, reducing debt, beefing up your cash reserves, or maybe towards short-term goals. The money needs a job before your lifestyle gives it one. And finally, separate your identity from your income. A $400,000 salary is powerful, but it's not the definition of your success. The goal is to become financially strong enough that your money creates flexibility, health, family time, confidence, and choices. That is what separates high earners who build wealth from those who just make a lot of money. They focus on what they keep, resist the inflation, plan around taxes, invest deliberately, and use income as a tool instead of letting it just slip through your fingers. The ones who understand them early on can turn that $400,000 income into genuine wealth. Now that you've seen what nobody tells you about making $400,000 a year, the traps that catch high earners off guard, and what it actually takes to build wealth, you can stop assuming that your income is going to make you wealthy by itself and start deliberately turning it into real, lasting wealth. So if you want help building a plan that actually turns your income into wealth, click the link in the description below where you can work with Flames. We will show you exactly how to structure it and for your exact situation. I will see you in the next video.